Good evening. This is the Bicycle Pedestrian Commission meeting. Today is August the 21st, 2024. I call the meeting to order at 7:04 and ask staff to proceed with the roll call.
Chair, Commissioner Ganga,
Yes.
Commissioner John, Chair Marcy,
Yes.
Vice Chair Wolf.
Yes.
We have a quorum, Commissioner John absent.
Okay. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from June the 13th. And so the recommended action is to approve the June 13th minutes. Are there any clarifying questions or comments on these minutes? So if none, are there any public speakers about the minutes? So we need a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the June 13th, 2024.
Yeah.
meetings.
I just have a remark before I second. I'm fine with the minutes, I reviewed it, but looks like we went from being more detailed minutes to a more abbreviated one this session. So I just wanted to make a note of that, and I thought that it was really helpful to have minutes that are detailed enough for people who did not attend the meeting to even, review and understand.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Ganga. That's somewhat of a, I don't want to say it's a new citywide policy, but that's the way all of the commissions have gone since the video recording of the commissions is now available for the record. So we now are completing just action minutes. And if you want the details of the discussion, then you can go and access the archive, watch the video.
So the video also has transcripts. That's right.
Written transcript?
Yeah.
Yes.
It does. Okay. Any other comments? Right. Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Yeah, I second the motion.
Okay, for the motion on the screen, how do you vote, Commissioner Ganga?
Yes.
Chair Marcy?
Aye.
Vice Chair Wolf?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0. Commissioner John absent.
3-0. You had 3-3.
3-0, got it.
Are there any postponements?
No postponements.
Are there any public speakers? So we'll move on then to the oral communications. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons wishing to address the commission on any matter within the jurisdiction of the commission that is not on the agenda. And speakers are limited to 3 minutes. So are there any persons wishing to make public comments?
I don't have any preference.
So I now close the public comment period for this agenda item. Are there any written communications received from staff?
No.
Okay. And moving on to old business, there is no old business. So moving on to new business. The topic is the 2024 Fall Bike Fest planning and coordination.
Hey, Chair, I'll introduce Birgit Weiner, our new full-time Safe Routes to School coordinator since Shri left at the end of the last school year. So Birgit, as you know, was our part-time community coordinator up until very recently. So she's taken over the helm and I will let her take it away. I will presentation or showing the presentation.
Thanks, David. Good evening, everybody. Thanks. I'm here to talk about
Bike Fest. It is our 11th annual, which is somewhat exciting. So it'll look a lot like last year, with some differences. Let's see. This year we are September 28th.
Moving on.
Sorry, next slide. Oh. We'll go over a little bit of the details and the bike routes, and then what I'm here for today. So the Bike Fest itself will be Saturday, September 28th from 9 to 1 at the Civic Center Plaza. And just like last year, we've got the plaza itself, and then we've got Torrey Avenue closed off from Rodriguez down to the library. So we can use the library, the road, to ride our bikes in. And the whole idea is everything that's on the plaza should be walking your bike, and if you want to ride your bike, it's in the street. So we're trying to segregate the activities so that we don't have people riding through little kids running around. Next slide, please. We've got lots of activities. They kind of break down into two general categories. The kind of core of Bike Fest and teaching people about bikes. That's been there since, I think, the very beginning, 11 years ago. So we've got helmet checks, bike checks, and basic bike repair, right? This isn't you found some rusty bike in the ditch and need it fixed. This is you need your brakes adjusted a little bit, or your tires pumped up type thing. There is the bike rodeo. This is the Safe Moves little safety town where kids can practice going through and stopping at a stop sign and what to do at a stoplight, so they get some practice where it's completely safe and there aren't any cars. Then we have the two bike rides. This year we're going to have a shorter one, a family ride, and then a longer one. And we'll talk more about those in a minute. And we have bike games, on-bike games, led by the Black Mountain composite mountain bike team. Things like, can you go around in a circle? First person to put their foot down loses, right? How's your balance? So things like that. We've got demos of bicycles. Mike's bike is going to come and demo some electric bikes. I think they're trying to get a cargo bike just so people can see some different things. And then we also have a street sweeper that's going to come and ride along, sweep the bike lane contraption that looks really cool. David and team saw it. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm kind of excited. And SV Hopper will be out as well, hopefully with their van, so people can practice putting their bike on their car and see how easy it is. If you took your bike to dinner and you decided you didn't want a bike ride home, you could call SV Hopper and get a ride home. Thank you. Then we have the second category of activities, of fun things to do, that are somewhat bike related. Wonder Bike smoothies will make an appearance because they're always super popular. We have two games coming back from Rock the Bike. These were demoed last year and everybody really loved them, so they're back. So one of them is you pedal your bike and it spins a wheel and makes spin art with ink, which is always fun. And then the sledgehammer, if you think of the old style carnival game where you sledgehammer and like you're trying to get the lights lit up, this one's you're racing a bike. And if you race fast enough, you can light up all the LEDs all the way to the top. So that's two bikes in tandem and they're racing against each other. So that one was super fun too. Button making has historically been sponsored by a high school team called Yeppy. Unfortunately, they have disbanded as of this year. However, our very own Sustainability Commission is going to take that station over. So they'll be there doing outreach as well as their activity. Another high school team called Echo Valley is going to make bike jewelry this year. They take old t-shirts that were going to get thrown away or recycled and cut them into strips. And then they have the kids braid them to make bracelets, or just loop them together to make bicycle handlebar tassels. So those should be very cute for the kids to make. Saratoga Bike Club is gonna come and have the kids make bike license plates. Basically, it's cardboard, right, that they'll zip tie onto the car, but they can make their own custom license plates. I have also asked them if we get all the ride leaders' names early enough, they can make custom license plates for all the ride chaperones. So, I think they'd be very cool, but we do have to give them some lead time on that, so. Face painting, just because it's fun. And the library does a normal story time on Saturday mornings, so they will do a bike themed story time for us. So, and we just picked up a new one tonight, out of that after the meeting. Tino Echo is a sustainability group out of Cupertino High School, and they're gonna come do bike helmet decorating. Let kids decorate their own helmets. So that'll be fun. We do have the 2 rides this year. We have a 9, almost 10-mile park tour ride. The idea here is to go through as many of Cupertino's green spaces and secret cut-throughs as possible. I think we're up to 11 parks, but I need to count again. And Black Mountain Composite, the high school mountain bike team, led by Mark Lady here, will be our ride chaperones for that one. And then we've got, and we've got a 2.4-mile family fun ride and scavenger hunt for the littles. And Bicycle Solutions with Tim Wee here is going to lead those. And we're changing up a little bit how we're structuring the bike rides this year, since it's only me. Well, hopefully we'll have more people, but as of right now, I have to plan on it's only being me, and I can't be in 5 places at once. So we have contracted out the bike rides so that it's one less thing. I interface with both of Mark and Tim, but I'm no longer running them, so that takes a little bit off my plate. And I wanted to run the bike routes by you. This is the park tour ride. It is very similar to last year, but in reverse. So we are starting off now that the new McClellan Deanza intersection is done as of a couple of weeks ago. We have to go through that one to see that one, and then down through Jollyman and up through Deanza and Memorial Park, across the northern section and coming down to Wilson. We're not actually going through Wilson Park because that's where the little ride is having their scavenger hunt. So we didn't want to compound the 2 rides and get everybody confused. And then off to the eastern end of town to go see that cute little Stella Barnhart Park, which is where a lot of the kids coming from Santa Clara to go to the 3 schools that are over there can come through, because there's a nice crossing across Lawrence there too. And showing people that side of town, and then coming back and hitting the Red Nut Creek Trail, because, well, we have to show that off as much as we can. Those rides are being led by Black Mountain, and their coaches are our ride chaperones. So thank you very much. Didn't know if you wanted to add anything to that, or if anybody had questions.
No, but I'll take questions, but I'm just curious to hear if the Cupertino experts had any feedback on the route, like, I've done it already. Understand. The one place that, I think most of you is the left turn of McClellan, but I do agree after I saw the picture, the overhead picture of that new intersection today, that it's really cool to use that one. So assuming we get enough chaperones, then I'm thinking, because that's really early in the ride, we'll just have one leader stop, stay there and get everybody safely through the left turn. That's not a problem because it's so early in the route.
Oh, that's a good idea. Cool. And so you still want to take Kim?
Pardon me?
Take Kim and not the earlier one with the flashing beacon?
Well, I didn't look at the flashing beacon, but I don't have a problem with either. I mean,
Okay.
you stick with the sophomore without a designated person.
Perfect.
It's definitely educational for kids to try something trickier when they have supervision to make sure they don't, if they screw up, they're not in actual danger. That is the situation they would find themselves in the real world.
Yes.
Out and about.
point.
So we going through Deanza College, is that right? Is it?
Yes. Yes.
There's nothing going on at Deanza College, I think, right?
Don't think so, but let me double check.
If we could always go the other way around the loop, so I'll take the west side of the loop instead of the east side.
So, and it goes through west side of Memorial Park, is that what I'm seeing there?
Yes.
And that continues north from there.
Mhm.
So how do they, is there a route through there? I can't remember. Is there?
Yeah, you can exit the park, what you do with
I
the,
mean, don't you jump over a curb or something and?
No.
Don't
To a little bike path. The wheel kids classes, which Cupertino is running, uses large parts of that route right now.
and there's also a restroom there, which is convenient.
Right, right.
People really need it.
And then like crossing busy streets is probably the ones that we're crossing Deanza. Oh, no, Deanza, we're crossing Stelling and
Sterling isn't too bad. Stevens Creek is probably one of your worst ones, but there is a light there with a push button.
And there are lights at all those crossings.
yeah, you cross that okay, we cross Stevens Creek twice. So we cross it over by Deanza College, which is not, that's not a bad crossing, but then the street that's on the east side, across Stevens Creek, what road is that? Is that Blaney?
That's been,
That's Portal, or Portal,
Support.
down by Portal Park.
But
There's a light there as well.
yeah, I mean, it looks similar to last year, just a little bit different. I mean, a little bit, what goes a little bit further north, I think.
Yeah, so instead of going north and coming back and then going north, we just stayed north.
But last time, I don't think we took a left turn. Right on from McClellan.
No, because last year it went the other way. So then it was a right turn onto McClellan.
Can we go straight there, or do you want it to cover the other part as well?
Well, if the idea is to get about 10 miles and as many parks as possible, it seems like Jollyman is one of the ones that we should be aiming for.
Okay,
If we want to shorten it, we can certainly cut that piece off.
So we're gonna be stopping at the parks, or we just go right through the parks.
It's gonna be a little bit up to the ride leaders, and the ride will break into pieces by design, and so if there's a slower group with, it has some younger kids, 10-year-olds could do this, no problem. Supervision, if they want to stop for some water or whatever, that would be usually accommodated.
I know, I just remember last year they're expecting 20, and there ended up being like more than 100 on the long.
Yeah.
Right, so that's, it was a lot more than anybody. And I think people got separated and we would stay together as a group. Obviously, it was harder to do that, but there weren't enough ride leaders on the long ride. Training, that's what happened. I mean, it's just like,
Yeah, we'll, with those numbers, we'll have a good idea of how many leaders to beg for.
so. Which,
Did that, Joel, did you do that last year? Last year I did the shorter one.
I-
I didn't do the long one last
I
year.
did the longer ride, and it's pretty similar. I think we avoided McClellan at that time. We changed the route. We went over to Rodriguez maybe and across there, but it's quite similar. And it's really I found it very doable for most of them, even the little kids. They were doing quite well. So there's a few, I think, I just remember one of the ride leaders on the long ride, there was a couple really young kids that probably shouldn't have been on the ride. And then they were way back. And I don't know if there's gonna be an age limit as to how young you can be.
So the leaders will know the route and we'll be able to make on the fly calls And for example, well, as I guess Birgit and I had discussed, but you can see after roughly, I don't know, 6 something miles, right? You get right back near the start, you can cut off the whole eastern loop. So if somebody's lagging, that's an easy call, or if the chaperone and kid are both willing to keep going, we can keep going.
Yeah, so in that instance, there was like one ride leader that stayed with his father and this young kid, very young kid, some of the time, so. But that just didn't have enough ride leaders.
Right.
Yeah, well, we have, our coaches are trained to be super, well, not trained, I mean, they're by nature super patient with slow kids, because they ride with kids as their volunteers. Yeah, there won't be any patient that's slow kids, and nobody will be in a rush, so they'll just make game time decisions. There's always things where somebody can flat, somebody can crash, so they're all capable, they'll all be able to make decisions on the fly.
I will put in a plug for Black Mountain. Their coaches are pretty awesome. There's a adventure team that goes out, and these are kids that never mountain biked before in their lives, and they coach them all along, and everybody comes home having successfully done the rides, and it's really awesome. So.
Joel, did you have any feedback on your sort of experience on the safety of the, not that slow kid, but on the middle, on the average? The issues that feel like maybe if there was more, or if there was more leaders, I guess we need more leaders for that.
I think, I think you can make the ride safer by having more leaders and then just having like 100, I think it was like 120.
Yeah.
Right, it was some enormous number, it's like, it just shocked me.
Yeah, we won't at all be trying to keep it together. A big group is, too many things can bump into other things and go on the wrong side. Yeah, it's not, we won't be doing that.
I think we had 3 ride leaders on that, that wasn't enough. And one of them, it wasn't sufficient. But I think we were expecting 20 or maybe 30. So,
It's a good turnout. I hope we get the same.
but you won't know until it happens whether or not, I guess as I recall, we didn't know how many riders are gonna show up until they could sign up that day, is that right?
Right, yeah, we tried a couple of years ago, excuse me, having people pre-sign up and pre-register, and it basically failed. So it's not worth doing, because you don't have it doesn't give you a good information anyway, so it's not worth it. So we're expecting, 120, 150 people
For that ride.
for this ride, yes.
I thought the ride layout was very, given it's Cupertino and given we have a lot of very busy streets, I think I thought it went relatively well. And most of the time, if you have a big group, what I've noticed is that you have to be careful at the intersections, and once the group gets out there and there's a lot of people, we had quite a few, the cars would just stop. They would just stop and wait for the whole crew to get through, so it was pretty good, that in that respect. It's just, the problem that I had is it's actually the little kids, people complained that I was going too fast. But at the same time, I was trying to keep up with these youngsters that were and I kept on telling them, you gotta come back to the group, but they really didn't, they weren't very responsive to that. So that was probably the only problem that I had.
And we have police or
We do not unless we're specifically asking for it, but.
wait, I don't think we need it. Other years we had,
Right, like the year that we went off of Foothill, when we went under 280, we felt like we needed it there because that was a kind of dicey intersection. But these rides, we've kind of deliberately kept away from there, so we don't need it.
well, I'm thinking much more recent. I remember around way over there many years ago, but more recently, just this, this the same kind of, just at Miller, right? Wasn't it Miller? We had, yeah, it was Miller exiting that park where police have sort of randomly,
Oh,
you're there. Across, I don't know what arrangement was made to get them there. Don't need them, but when they're.
it wasn't us.
Yeah, that was the main.
Spontaneously appeared and helped.
Yeah, I don't know, well, because I never called them and set it up, so they were just part of it.
Okay, cool. If there are no more questions for the long ride then, and we will be doing route arrows for this one this year. We tried without last year and people decided that that didn't help, that route arrows on the ground, so that if you get separated, you have some clues as to where the next piece is.
Fancy.
That was there for the shorter one. This is really good.
2 years ago, we did it for
Okay.
both routes. It's just that last year we were hoping to not have to, and it didn't work so well for the longer route that broke apart, so. We experiment and we learn and we fix things. Okay, on to the short route. Tim and his team is doing this one, and it's gonna be a little bit different this year, if you want to explain.
So we're doing it as a big musical bike bus party. So we're having everyone stick together and there'll be music, trailers they get to listen to. So it's not a parade, it'll be like a bus. We'll be honoring all the traffic signals we go through. But when we go through an intersection, we will have people block off, there are only stop signs really we have to go through. So the bus makes it all the way through so no one gets separated. We pass all the way through. And so we'll be taking a full lane in that direction, like a big bus, riding 2 or 3 people wide. It'll be a little bit, could be long, up to about 200 people is what we should have capacity for.
Okay, but there'll be a lot of, sorry. There's a lot of little kids. And typically we have seen in this smaller rides, like people separate. And the last ones will be probably like coming in way late. So if you're trying to keep the entire group together, it might be harder.
Well, the person who's doing sweep will be in communication with the person in the lead and say faster or slower. And that will just keep everyone, we'll go as slow as the slowest rider.
Okay.
And it's worked.
It's gonna be
well.
new.
Yeah, we've done, I've done a bunch of these through Silicon Valley Bike Coalition. And
Okay.
it's worked out pretty well, as long as there's no one on training wheels.
We had that, we had that last year.
As well. Yes.
Yeah, so no training wheels,
Okay.
because I was helping with one of these rides years back and there's someone's training wheels. It's way behind everybody. We had to shortcut the route because they just couldn't
That's
make it.
exactly what happened last year.
Which direction is this loop going?
Going counterclockwise.
I guess but if you had somebody in training wheels and you had, or that really wanted to go, they could just take the trails that start to park and call it a day.
They could, but they wouldn't be with all the
Oh,
music.
yeah, that's right. Miss all the.
That's all, yeah. The fun part of being this bus that goes around.
How many, what's the distance of that?
2.4 miles.
Yeah, that's good.
It'd be short.
We'll need a strong lead too, to make sure that if they're gonna slow down to, based on, the slowest rider. Last year, we had some kids at the front that were just really impatient and kept trying to zoom ahead of the lead and trying to keep them reined back was a challenge.
Yeah. They're going to stay behind the music trailer. There'll be another music in the middle of it all, maybe. But yeah, they'll all need, they won't know the routes. We're not giving them maps in advance and they're not arrowed. So in order to know where they're going, they need to follow them.
That didn't stop these little kids on
Yeah.
the ride last year.
And one possibility is maybe if you wanted to split into 2 groups, it may be easier to manage.
But then we only have one big music trailer.
Okay, I see, okay. Okay, it's good, next one.
But route wise, it's the same one as last year, right?
Yes.
And then Wilson Park will be the scavenger hunt, where we're using features of the park as the things that they need to find and fill out the sheet or the bingo card or whatever we decide. We have another little team working on that.
So last year it was only on the playground, right? So you plan on spreading that or?
Well, we haven't finished the scavenger hunt. We're still working out the detail.
And then as we come back to, for the most part, Ragnar Creek Trail is nice and wide, but there are spots where it kind of just rolls over into the ditch. So we'll put out cones along those spaces. More as it's not a railing, but more as a visual reminder, come in. And then Tim, one of the things we wanted you to ask is ask the parents to be the one on the ditch side and put the kids on the side where they can't, fall down 10 feet of ditch for fun because it looked like a good idea. Not that my kid would do that or anything. invite them. Questions on this ride? Cool. So for our timeline, looks a lot like last year. The activities kick off at 9. The real difference here is in the past, we've always had the mayor come and kind of kick things off at like 9:15. But the sad part about that is there's not usually a lot of attendance at 9:15. So we've got the mayor out there to talk to like 20 people. So this year we flipped that and she's gonna come talk at 12:30 when everybody comes back for their ride raffle. And then she can also help with the raffle too. So then she'll have a bigger audience. The 2 rides are the same time as last year. So the park tour, the long ride will start gathering at 10:45. We're hoping to be out the door by 11. And then the short ride starts at 11:15 because that story time ends at 11. So it's probably overlapping age groups that are doing this ride and the story time. So we wait for story time to be done. We start gathering the ride at 10:15 or 11:15 and hopefully out the door by 11:30. Both rides hopefully back around 12:15, 12:30. It's a little bit hard to judge. So that's the goal. And then the mayor's address and the raffle will wait until the ride sweeps get back. As long as there's not actually, some issue that we're trying to deal with.
Who was it last year? You remember that on this power line had a good loud voice and was giving a safety briefing. Didn't know the person.
That was the Safe Moves person. And so that is one of the things that I needed to ask the 2 of you is who wants to do do you want to do your own safety briefings or do you want Safe Moves to do it again? And we can talk about that.
Well, that guy, in my mind, he had great charisma for that, exactly what he did. I don't remember if he had a bullhorn or not, but he did a great job.
Okay.
That is.
I think he'll be up again, so we can do that again. And then we're also trying to fix the sound issue that the people talking weren't necessarily being heard by everybody, so.
In my case, I've got my own loud sound system with me, so I can use that.
Yep, exactly. Yep. And then Jeff will be back too as MC and sound, so.
Good, okay.
Questions on the? And now this is where we come to the please help us. These are the jobs that we're looking for help for. I don't know what strikes any of your fancies or if you're available on the 28th. The registration table, we have high schoolers there, but it's usually nice to have a face there as well if you didn't want to ride and wanted something. Last year, so in the past, the gentleman who does our bike repair always says, oh, I'll manage the line, don't worry about it. I don't need any line monitors. And he got absolutely mobbed last year and finally acknowledged that, well, maybe we do need some line management. We figured for the most part, all of our volunteers not all, but a large number of our volunteers are high schoolers. These are the jobs that we really kind of want an adult for, right? So like the line monitor would have high schoolers to help, but we kind of need the adult to say, no, sorry, you missed the cutoff, you really did. You can take your bike to the repair shop yourself, right? So that kind of personal interaction. Last year we had a volunteer who like spontaneously said, hey, I'll be your information booth. And we said, we've never had an information booth before. I don't know that we need one, but okay. And it turned out to be fabulous. So I haven't heard from her this year, which is sad. So I'm looking for an information booth person now. Our safe routes to school booth this is ironic. All of us who can do the safe routes to school booth are otherwise occupied. So that booth is not staffed, but I think the county people agreed to come. So we might get county safe routes to school to come do this. So I'm crossing my fingers on that one. The family fun ride is looking for more chaperones, especially if it's going to grow. It's going to be 150, 200 people. We definitely need more. If somebody wants to go around for 2.5 miles and be part of the bus. I need a photographer for both rides. This is not something I feel comfortable asking a high schooler to do, to go stand in the street, like to judge where is safe to stand to take pictures of the ride as it goes by. So if you know anybody who has any photography skills and wants to go along on either ride. And then, as all the riders come back, the little kids who've done the scavenger hunt get a raffle ticket. But last year we also gave them an Otter Pop, and our feedback from the long ride was, why don't I get an Otter Pop? I went on a even longer ride than you did. So this time, if you went on a ride, you get an Otter Pop. So you need to staff that one a little bit higher. So I don't know if anything strikes your fancies.
I can I've been doing this family fun, right? So I can chaperone or all. Again, with the one caveat, obviously, if I have to travel during that time, then I might have to miss it, but otherwise, if I'm here,
The ride prize table, if the Black Mountain table is where it was last year, which was right near the finish line, and we have Jen staffing the table. Well, there she is.
Oh, perfect. I'll tell her you signed her up.
Yes.
Well, how many chaperones do you need for the family fun ride?
We'll have a league cycling instructor as a sweep. She's trained with kids. Actually, his former Safe House to School coordinator here, Chelsea Bicklett, doing the sweep. I'm doing the lead, and I'm hoping to have 5 to 10, call them outriders, that are actually sort of surfing the outside edges of the group and also helping control intersections when we go through the stop signs.
Okay, so I can volunteer for that also.
Cool. It'll be a fun time. It'll be we either have a full bike playlist or I can just do a happy kid centered playlist. It'll be a rocking time.
So I can help with the information booth, and also the ride.
Oh, cool. Are you going along on the ride again?
You have to.
Now that you don't have to lead it?
Yeah, I can help on the short ride, sure.
Cool. You just got 4 ride chaperones.
Yeah, great.
Thank you very much. It's appreciated. I think that's my last slide. Yes, so thank you. And if you know anyone else who wants to be part of the festivities, send them my way.
There's always people that walk by Cupertino. Probably knows.
Yep, so they're gonna do the helmet fitting. And then probably also get a couple of ride chaperones from them as well.
I think, technically, are there any clarifying questions on the commissioners? I would have one. Is there, that's some kind of a advertisement plan, or what's being done to advertise for the bike fest?
So the
And is there
information.
anything you can do to help? And is there anything we can do to help?
Sure. So there is, the website is up. It's cupertino.org/bikefest. And then the liability waiver form and everything is on there already. So that's ready to go. And the communications group is going to kick off a social media campaign starting next week. Get that going. So if you see those, if you want to forward those to anybody, I can get you a stack of flyers if you have places you think putting them out would be good. We have the promotional video we can send you if you want to forward that. I don't know what your venues are, right? And then we'll put out, the A-frames will show up too, like here and in front of City Hall.
Got the banner over Stevens.
Banner on Stevens Creek. There'll be another one here at Memorial Park. We do post through the schools. CUSD will send something in Peach Jar for us.
So we're expecting, I'm seeing 200 people for the small ride, 130 people So that would be 330. How many people are we expecting total for? If we can count that, if you count that.
Right, so last year, we think we had about 550 participants, and we're hoping to better that, so. Cross my fingers. And then like another 150 volunteers. So it's a big day. We have outgrown the little 20 people in the back parking lot.
One other question that I have, the bike for Leo, where is it going to be?
On Torrey, so were you there? You were there last year, same
Yes.
place, so on the northern end of Torrey, so between Rodriguez and Civic Center Plaza, and we asked them to leave a path so people can still bike in and out, but they have the whole width of the street there. It's a little bit narrow for them for their normal setup, but they can make it work, because they have the whole length.
Is the bike super going to be contracted at the city?
Well, it's gonna be on display, so.
Just on this place, it's not gonna actually.
No, he says he can do a demo and he can lower the seat so people can ride it. So we have to
Still have
figure
demos,
out,
yeah.
we have to figure out where we can let people try it out. Evan,
This is a bike powered sweeper.
It's a, yeah, you tow it behind your bike.
yeah,
I've tried it out. It works pretty well.
It actually does. Yeah, we tried it a couple of weeks ago. He came by the, our yard at the city and rode it up and down the sidewalk, and it does a really good job.
I mean, it's a question for another meeting, where it would be interesting to see if that's a solution for, sometimes there's like some debris on the bike lane, that's something that.
We're talking about it. Yeah.
Isn't that what it's for?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
We have to have the budget for it and then the staff.
Oh, you can buy it, okay.
Yeah, he's selling them. He sells them.
Okay, I thought you were demonstrating what you just bought.
Well, no, we haven't bought it. He came to the city, gave us a demonstration, then he's gonna come to the bike fest and do the same thing.
be cool if the team got one. Like whoever was fastest last week has to ride it.
Versus where we're slowest things.
Oh. Well, apparently it slows you down a lot. Drag is,
Oh, I see what you mean, to drag at you, drag while you're, yeah.
yeah.
Any other question?
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll open the public comments. Are there any public speakers for that agenda item? So I think from a discussion perspective for the commission, we're. All right. Okay. So that I close then that agenda item, and we move on to the next agenda item, which is to discuss and prepare the bicycle pedestrian commission annual report to city council.
Chair. Got a. Brief presentation to show you. Okay, so, I believe you know, all of the commissions have been asked by the city council to present an annual report, to the council. And the bike commission, no exception, the city council has asked that the bike commission presentation occur at the Wednesday, September 4th. City manager has asked that the draft presentation be submitted to city manager's office for review by August 29th. So it's coming up quickly next week. Earlier submittal of the draft to me would probably be a good idea, just to kind of vet it over or send it out to the city manager's office. The commission chair is expected to present in person at the city council meeting. And you'll have up to 10 minutes to make your presentation. So what I have here is and maybe an introduction before we go any further. The reason I'm bringing this to the commission this evening is I thought it would be good for the commissioners to be able to discuss in a Brown Act setting what items that you could place on the the presentation for the city council so that we can try to pull it together this evening with all the commissioners present. So here's a sample of the Housing Commission has put together to provide a template, if you will, for what think about doing for the bike commission. So opening slide, pictures introducing the commissioners, and then a description, what we do in terms of kind of the purview of the commission. And that's something that would be basically drawn from the municipal code in terms of what the commission basically legally is doing. And then another slide, what you've basically accomplished over the past year. And then the last slide essentially is, you know, what you're doing now and maybe goals, achievements that you're looking to have for the following year. And that's about it. So kind of short and to the point, just 10 minutes that can give the city council a general overview of the commission's up to and where they're going.
Is this an actual presentation? And this is the one that's been submitted?
This is one that's actually been, yes, that the city manager has seen. Yes, I don't know if this is going to the council or.
I don't think so. I think they start on September.
They start as a member. Yeah, but this is provided to us as a sample of what to show the commissions in terms of what the council would be expecting. So that's all. I'll take questions and then I thought we could spend the time just discussing what maybe some items that we could present to council at the bicycle commission board.
I have technical question regarding the Brown Act. If we were to, for example, the presentation with some Google Slides and work on it collaboratively, is that making comments and stuff like this?
That's a good question. Communicating, it's best, I think that it's best to try to vet big items here now, and then David could.
Pass through me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Somebody can make comments to him, and then you can pass it to individual, take it back, and then pass it to the next individual, take it back, and pass it to the third individual.
yeah. So I think, yeah, I'll be kind of the distributor, the conduit. So yes, Kim was saying, we'll do the big items tonight. And then I envision you would kind of take that back and put together something a little bit more formal, and then you can send that to me and I can distribute it to the rest of the commission for comments. And then I'll compile their comments as well as if I have any of my own and provide that back to you for sort of a final draft. And then I will redistribute that out.
As long as it's not like a chain.
Yeah, as long as it comes through me and goes out through me and I kind of control the message.
We don't email everybody back. We only email you.
Yeah, just go through me and then I'll blind copy the commissioners when I send it out so that we don't get a chain.
So I guess we're looking at the topics that we're going to talk about. So I think overall, who are we? It's pretty straightforward. What we do, I think, should also be pretty straightforward. I think the what we've done point is the one that we want to talk about today to clarify what are the points that we want to put in the presentation.
Yeah, so what we do, and there's also the municipal code and objectives are also there in the bicycle pedestrian commission website. So you could take that and have a summary of that one.
Yes.
Right, because we have written objectives as well as to what we want to do, right? So
Exactly.
could use some abstract or summary version of that.
As far as what we've done, trying to think out loud, the things that I think are relevant for city council, that would be things like the Vision Zero plan. One,
So yeah, that's one of the major accomplishments. We should have that in there.
Vision Zero plan, I would think also the Lawson Lake School project. So we've been working on it.
We haven't done it. That would be-
The De Anza
That would be like the next year.
Yeah,
On, buffered bike lanes. Would that be part of this?
I think that was probably the year previous.
Is that year over year?
Yeah,
Okay. So I think that's,
so I think we're basically looking from like fiscal year. More or less, or is it more like,
Recent accomplishments.
yeah,
It doesn't have to be exactly like from January to December, it could just be.
the last.
so the things
Yeah.
that are implemented right now, I think we can talk about, like, the Pienza intersection, to say, hey, this is something that's going to benefit everyone, that was under the watch of not specifically this commission, but at least was decided by the commission before, and something that impacts lives of the residents. I think it still makes sense to highlight it.
Final phase is what will come in this year, so because that project has been a multi-year project, what's going on, right? So you would say that the final phase has been complete.
Yeah, I mean, that had come to the commission and you had provided feedback on McClellan within the past year and a half. So I think it's fair to include that one, certainly.
I think we can go back to the, every month meeting minutes, and that should give us a clear idea of the accomplishments for the last year. Right?
So a new bike ped plan, is that,
So I think that that's gonna be the phase where we'll have what we're going to do, what we plan on doing, so that will be the next one.
Active transportation. Crystal Ray bike lanes, it's something that the commission.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Oh, bike
The
to work
Crystal
day,
Ray,
energizer
bike
station.
lane. Crystal Ray Drive. Yeah, Crystal Ray Drive, it's off of Foothill, it's not there. Foothill.
Yeah, the cost share we had with the the bike lanes from Crystal Ray. The
That's the Rancho.
bike to work day, energizer station,
That we,
and Bike Fest, of course.
so you're saying that the Deanza Boulevard, even though that buffered bike lane, that's too far, I mean, that wasn't part of our. Even though.
I mean, I don't think, I think it's been over a year since that came to the commission, but you could probably. put it-
We've never done this before, have we? This,
No.
piece of the council, this is new.
Yeah,
This is the first time we are doing
I
that.
believe so, yeah.
Or in the-
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, go ahead.
I think we'll
Yeah, how about just, we'll throw things and put in, then if the list looks too long,
refine.
we can talk about scaling back, yeah.
I think the goal should be like top 3 items which will stick to both the council as well as the people, public. Same way, what top 3 things that we want to do going forward instead of a whole list of things. Which people will get lost in that whole list, right? So,
Yeah, especially if we have just 10 minutes,
yeah, exactly.
it's gonna go pretty fast. So
Yes.
that's 2 minutes per slide almost.
The bike facilities item, it's on the current work plan that the commission's.
For the bike racks.
Oh, bike racks, yes. That's still.
Rodriguez Avenue. We're kind of in progress on that one, but
Okay, so I'll start, working with you on that, David, and submit you a outline, and we can then get feedback from the rest of the issues.
yeah, I think, sounds like early Thursday, the 29th is when the city manager is expecting. So if you want to maybe get me something early next week, all right?
Yeah.
And then. I think we got a bunch of stuff, so.
So how many items do we have on the to-do list? There's, I mean,
On the-
what we,
On the
what we're going,
upcoming one, we have the active transportation plan. I think we can talk about the bike fest, which is going to be upcoming, and I think it's also a good way to highlight the fact that it's gonna happen. But
Maybe you put Rodriguez on that.
yeah, Rodriguez could be good, and the bike racks actually. because
And the bike rack.
speed limit lowering, is that part of it?
We've sort of done that. I mean, we haven't changed them in the field, but we've completed all the studies. We're kind of ready to.
If that's not ongoing in the future.
That's.
There'll be a citywide speed limit reevaluation within the next couple of years, but I'm not sure that's a bike commission. That's more of just something we do as staff. It's a transportation as a whole. It's not a bike safety, bike.
Well, the Bollinger Road micro study,
Well, yeah, you could put Bollinger,
is that
Yeah,
the future as well?
the Bollinger Road corridor study. Yeah, that's within this next year. The regular Creek Trail. That was. Yeah, I guess regular Creek Trail. I mean, that's been open for a while now, but
But yeah, that's been year and a half.
it's been a year and a half. That might be too much. Sorry. But I was thinking of this, the,
Tanya, you know.
yeah, I was just thinking.
Yes.
If we want to put that one on. I mean, I'm sure that'll come to the commission,
Which one's this?
the Tammy and Eden.
I-280 trail.
Oh, okay, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, yes, okay.
Also, Vision Zero, we might be going into an implementation phase, right? So,
Yeah. That could also be on the to-do list, yeah. Pieces, individual pieces that need to be implemented, the actions.
Well, Carmen Bridge. I like the project.
I just whispered that to you.
That would be-
That's the first one, yeah.
Take it for next year. Okay, so yeah, we don't.
Charter. Commission's charter.
Okay. So I guess any clarifying question? Yeah, perfect. Are there any public speakers?
No public speakers.
So I will close this agenda item, and move on to the staff and commission report.
Sure. Few items to report, some project updates. McClellan Phase 3, the McClellan Deanza intersection, was completed about a month ago or so. So we're still looking at ways to do some additional safety enhancements for bicyclists on along McClellan and along Pacifica approaching the intersection. But the project is substantially complete. The Deanza buffered bike lane project, we've signed the contract with the contractor and we're working out scheduling on when that work is going to be completed. The best date I have right now is sometime in October is when that work is going to be performed. Most of it likely is going to happen at night so that we avoid traffic impacts. The rehabilitation of the Regnart Creek Trail surface. The city crews are developing their schedule currently to do the repairs. So it was ideally going to be done over the summer, but due to various factors, they weren't able to complete it over the summer. But they're currently trying to put the schedule together, and they're going to do it in a couple of phases. They're going to do a segment from Blaney to the bridge, in Wilson Park first, or separately. And once that's done, we're going to do the bridge to East Estates. I'll provide more information on the schedule as I get it. And at the July 9th City Council meeting, the council adopted the Vision Zero action plan. So staff is currently working on developing a task force that as part of that plan and putting together a work plan for progressing on the implementable actions that are identified in the plan. And at that same council meeting, staff, the council also directed staff to move forward with the Watson on-street class 4 two-way protected bike lane. And conducted the first reading of the ordinance to prohibit parking on Vista. We're going to city council for the second reading of that ordinance, probably September 17th. After which staff will move forward with completing drawings for the work and bidding the project, likely be completed in the late fall or early winter. So I discussed that. Just a reminder for the commissioners, if you are going to be traveling internationally, to email IT beforehand and let them know the dates that you'll be away, so that they keep your access to the account open. And then finally, for the September Bike Commission meeting, I won't be here, so we don't necessarily need to discuss this tonight, but you can either cancel the meeting, or I can try to find somebody to substitute in my place as the liaison. Rescheduling the meeting might be difficult because it looks like the room is booked the week before and the week after. So, but I can work with you, Perry, on flying about.
One quick question, just process-wise, what is the first reading of the ordinance on the parking prohibition mean? Is this like, can people not, or are people allowed to park or not, even though there are no construction works? So how does it work?
So, yeah, so for right now, you can legally park still along Vista. Yeah. Once the second reading is approved or adopted, then we can legally prohibit parking along that street. In reality, it's not going to be enforced until we go out and we change the signs, because unless there's something on the street which tells them they can't park there, we can't really enforce it. But we anticipate doing that shortly after.
How long between parking is forbidden to the beginning of the construction or?
That's a good question, and something I'll need to figure out how I want to manage that.
Okay.
Because I don't want to wait too long, but then I don't want to do it too soon and just have the parking prohibited, and then people end up parking there anyway because there's bike lane becomes a big enforcement.
Start thinking like avoid friction.
Yeah,
Just-
yeah, and maybe just thinking aloud, maybe putting something temporary for the bike lane after the parking is restricted before we get the permit there, just to have it in place. Maybe I'll give that some thought. Thank you.
So will the construction of the Lawson two-way bike lane start this year then? I mean, it's gonna be.
That's the intent, yeah.
Mention completion by late fall. Or
Yeah, late fall, early winter, I'm thinking.
It'll be completed then.
It's not, hopefully. It's not a very construction intensive project. I mean, it's mostly posts and paint signs. So there's no like civil work or so it shouldn't be a big effort.
Any other question?
Yeah, one comment I have is like, this is again reminding the commissioners about the Brown Act, especially when you're communicating over emails or communicating to all. I thought that there was an incident where someone was making a comment addressed to all the commissioners, and people were responding to it with all, CC all. So that's best to avoid that situation. If you wanted to communicate back to the who are public, it's better to respond unicast to that person as opposed to sending it all to the rest of the commission members. I didn't want to jump into the same thing because I'm again violating it by broadcasting to all, which I didn't do it, but I'm just, saying this to all of us to, reminding so that we don't violate the Brown Act.
The famous email storm by saying stop replying to all.
Exactly, exactly.
And that's why when I communicate, I'll do a BCC to everybody so that you can't reply all. Yeah. But to just, yeah, it's a good reminder if you do get an email with everybody on the CC line, not to reply.
Has that been a problem with responding to all?
It happens fairly, not this commission necessarily, but just in general, it's just something to always be aware of.
That constitutes a meeting because you're having majority of the commission members in that group. So electronic email exchange is also considered could be considered as a meeting.
There's a lot of nuances that consider a meeting. There's also a chain where
Same, yeah.
if I email Joel and then Joel forwards it. So, yeah, that's also a violation.
It's also-
If you're not all copied at the same time.
Yeah, the best thing is when public can address to all of us. But if you wanted to make any comment or respond to it as a chair or vice chair or as a commissioner, just write it only to that person and not to everyone else. Thank you.
Are there any commission reports? None? So we can see no speakers. So let's move on then to the future agenda setting. So can we bring up the list of considerations? So unfortunately, we could not do the Rodriguez Avenue item, so I was out of the country for personal reasons. It was hard for me to kind of coordinate. But David, you mentioned you would not be there next time, so how can we make sure that we move that agenda item further along? Because there was significant community presence last time at the meeting when this was presented, so I would like to see that move as quickly as possible.
Let's, the same for October, if you don't mind, Hervé, and then maybe between now and then, you and I could get together and I think good just to go out there and talk about it too, just to come to a meeting of the minds on it. Could probably take visions off. I mean, I will be engaging the commission in various aspects of it, like it's just something I'll be doing with a lot of folks, and if it's necessary to keep that on work plan.
So the one of the action item, that one is to form a, how do we track the progress? Like, do we report back the progress to the commission, or you're going to have a separate task force?
There will be a task force.
Okay.
I haven't decided exactly how the reporting structure of that yet. So I'm, but that it's a task force will be kind of the focus of the work. It won't necessarily be the bike commission. It'll be one part of it.
Okay. I mean, my question is like, do we need to have a line item to, or come back and report any progress?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's minor, I'll include it in my staff report, and if it's something more significant, I can put it as an agenda.
It's a new agenda.
Is back, I think in April, we received a presentation from the VTA about bicycle infrastructure improvements along Homestead Road. Starting, well, actually, yeah, I think it was starting at Homestead Road and extending all the way to that middle school. Is there a way we can get updates on that? I mean, as far as a future agenda item or?
I can provide updates during my staff report, and I can just tell you now that the project is going to pause for a while because it reached the end of the funded phase. The 35% plans have been essentially completed, and they're, I think, getting close to environmental clearance. But they don't have any funding to move any further in the project. And so they're talking to each of the cities about possible funding opportunities or ways to move the project forward. But until that is identified, not going to be any more progress.
Do we want to put that on, that's like a future agenda item though, so we're, I mean, it's some point. I mean, if they're only at 35%, it seems that we would be interested in, as they move along in the design, if they.
We could put it, it's a pretty long list already. I think when they get to the point where they start to move, certainly. But there's not going to be anything to report on that for a little while. Speed limit reduction study on well. So again, we completed the speed limit reduction studies. We didn't do Rodriguez. We'll be doing that with the citywide. We did Blaney, we did McClellan. I don't know if you want to keep that on the list or not, but we've completed the studies.
So you completed the speed limit studies. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, we completed the studies for Blaney, McClellan, Mary, Bub, Prospect.
So could we get put it on the agenda item to understand like what the outcome of this study?
Yeah, I can certainly, or I can report out on it. I sent an item of interest to council a few weeks back with the outcome. I'd be happy to provide that to them.
Yeah, it would be great to have this presentation summarizing the findings, because I think that's very relevant to pedestrian cyclists, so yeah, it would be great.
Yeah, I can just do a report on it. Or I can just tell you now, we're reducing the speed limit 5 miles an hour on all of them.
But what I'm more interested in is like when you speed limit study, like what were the actual speed for people drove, like in the average and the mean and.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can provide that for you.
I would be very interested just to understand like what's the landscape first, and then that drove your conclusions as to which one should be reduced.
Sure.
Yeah. Can we put that for October?
For October, yeah, I can do that.
Then how about the voluntary road report, or is it at Microsoft?
Yeah, we should leave that on there. Yeah, we'll be not in the immediate future, but within the next several months, we're still trying to get our funding agreement signed with the FHWA for that. Once we do, we'll be able to move forward. We could probably remove. Oh, no, never mind.
And the other thing would be interesting also is there's one which you go back up about Monte Vista and the bike lane there. And there was study for bollards, I think, somewhere here. Yeah, the bike.
Yeah, steady on
Oh,
the bike lane in front of one of his high schools.
Yes. Could you get that for October?
Let's talk about that. Oh, like separately. I'm not sure what to bring. If you just want a discussion, certainly we could do that.
And the last one for me, because it's tomorrow, maybe the one at the bottom, I'll be also very interested in having a kind of state of the city when it comes to at the bottom, the traffic lights. Just to understand what is the status of like in the city when you, I remember being stuck, for example, on Bollinger trying to take a left north on Blaney, and my bike would not be detected at all by the cars go.
San Jose.
Okay, that's their light.
Yeah.
Hence the question, like, how does it work? And if all of our traffic lights are perfectly, equipped to handle cyclists, I would love to understand that.
I would like to think so. I mean, probably not, but that's my goal.
I would be interested just to.
Okay.
What is the landscape like?
Sure.
How does it work? Yeah.
Okay.
Along those lines.
I don't know if that's a lot for October.
Okay.
Yeah. But certainly I can, put that as. Yeah, the fall, that's probably.
Yeah, I would add just to that, when, I have a road bike, a nice road bike that I had to get new wheels, I had to get carbon fiber wheels, and I found out a lot of the detectors no longer pick me up anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's really made a difference.
Yeah.
That's also my problem. I think we might have that been that didn't get.
So, I mean, and then you mentioned that are like cameras sometimes that pick, so it would be interesting. I mean, most people still have metal rims. but
Yeah.
Something, I would certainly be interested in that too, but, how,
You need to carry a magnet along with you, children.
I carry a chunk of metal.
Check on metal. Yeah.
Any other item from the commission? Are there any public comment for this item?
Nope.
All right, so that was the last item. The meeting is adjourned at 8:20 PM. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're in the meeting order?
I'm gonna close